Her words hit me like a sudden, freezing gust, the kind that seeps into your bones and refuses to leave. I was standing at the doorway, half drunk on the sweet scent of cake and lilies, watching her twirl in the golden light of our living room, her laughter filling every corner. The moment should have been warm, intimate. Her smile, the soft crinkle in her eyes, the way she leaned into me when I whispered, "Happy birthday, love." Instead, her voice carried sharpness I hadn't heard before, a casual cruelty disguised as teasing. I blinked, trying to catch my balance, my stomach sinking. Who's that?" I asked, voice tighter than I intended. Her head tilted, hair falling over one shoulder as she shrugged nonchalantly. "Oh, him," she said, her laugh trailing like smoke. "You know, just someone who can't leave me alone." Something in me recoiled. The words weren't new. She had always spoken about friends with an offhand charm, but this was different. There was pride in the way she said it, a kind of ownership. My mind clung to denial, grasping for possibility that I'd misunderstood. The evening passed with an uneasy tension. She danced and sipped champagne, laughed at jokes I didn't fully hear, and texted occasionally with that faint smile of secret amusement. My heart was a knot, a steady drum of suspicion and dread. I told myself I was being paranoid. Surely, I thought, marriage has its small curiosities, harmless flirtations. Surely, I'd notice if there was more. But the little things began to add up. A sudden rush to the bathroom when her phone buzzed. A whispered conversation that abruptly ended when I walked into the room. The subtle scent of cologne that wasn't mine. Each clue was a breadcrumb in a trail I didn't want to follow, but I couldn't turn away. Days later, I tried to ignore it, bury myself in work, in errands, in the numb comfort routine. But every time she smiled across the table, I searched her eyes for truths she didn't offer. One evening, after a quiet dinner, she laughed again at a message on her phone, and the words slipped careless but sharp. "He can beg all he wants. I'm not interested, not that it matters." My stomach twisted. The little voice of reason, my trust in her, fought to speak, but was drowned by the pounding of my heart. I needed to know. I didn't have to wait long. The following weekend, she said she was going out with friends. Just a small birthday celebration carried over, she said. I felt a cold pressure in my chest, but nodded, forcing a smile. Alone, I sat on the couch, staring at her discarded scarf, the faint scent of perfume lingering, and I made a decision I would never forget. I followed her, not recklessly, carefully, quietly, heart hammering in my chest as though it were trying to warn me. She moved with a familiar grace I had once adored, unaware of my shadow. And then I saw him, the man she had laughed about, waiting by a car with that mix of hope and desperation in his posture. She didn't just speak about him. She met him. She touched his arm. She laughed the way she had laughed in our living room. Only this time it was meant for him. The world tilted. I wanted to turn away, to run, to scream, to demand explanations. But I stayed, frozen, stomach aching, as my carefully constructed life crumbled in real time. When she finally noticed me, the fear and guilt flashed briefly in her eyes before she masked it with a casual, almost playful grin. "You're home early," she said, as though she hadn't just shattered everything. I walked to her. Each step weighted with betrayal, and the words I had rehearsed 1,000 times caught in my throat. How long?" I asked, voice raw. Her shrug was effortless, dismissive. "Does it matter?" she said. "You know I've always loved the attention. And, well, I can't help who wants me." The truth hit me with the force of winter. Love is not always enough. Not when trust dissolves and the laughter shared with someone else in secret. My chest ached. My hands trembled. And yet, even as heartbreak roared inside me, a quiet clarity settled. I deserved honesty, respect, a partner who chose me without conditions. I left, not with shouting or chaos, but with the finality of someone who had loved and lost, someone who had survived the sting. The door clicked behind me, the silence of the house pressing in, heavy and accusing. I walked into the night, feeling the weight of betrayal, but also the strange, liberating pull of freedom. Her laughter still echoes in my memory, sharp and irreparable, but I no longer needed it to define me. Trust may die, love may falter, but I could rebuild. And one day, perhaps, I would smile again without the shadow of someone else's voice haunting me. The betrayal had cut deep, yes, but it also showed me something vital. I had the strength to walk away. And sometimes, leaving is the loudest declaration of love. For yourself,